Thanks for joining us for the first 2012 Inside the Idaho Vandals with head coach Rob Akey. I'm Dennis Patchen. We'll be here each week talking about Idaho football and other things along the Idaho Athletic Department. Thanks for being here. How are you today?
I'm doing well, believe it or not, and thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to this.
I'm looking forward to being here with you each week. We should have a lot of fun in this program. Now, Rob, first game, you really don't know what your team is going to do. They've been spring football against each other, fall camp against each other. You finally got to play another team. What did you find out about your football team?
Well, I found out I didn't like the way we came out and played or didn't execute. That disappointed me, to be real honest with you. And I've been pretty vocal about the fact that I felt like we've got an improved football team. I thought I've seen some good things take place on our field, as we've gone through this fall camp, and that we've grown in a number of ways. That was what I expected to see when we played the game on Thursday night. I didn't see it happen that way. We had opportunities now, to make some good things happen, but we still just did not execute as clean as what I've seen us do. Is it first game apprehension? Is it what? Doesn't matter. You can't play in a football game like that. So we need to get that cleaned up and get ourselves moving on. There were some things that I thought were bright spots that we will build from. We have the ability to focus and pay attention to that. The outcome and the result obviously are not acceptable, and that's going to be driving us also.
Were there things throughout the game that you thought got better? Because, once you play somebody else, it's all about improving as the game goes on. Were there areas with your football team that did get better in the game?
Had it gotten better, we'd have won the game. I look at it that way. There were things there were opportunities that were there that just drives you crazy. We had an opportunity to take an early lead. We've got we're in great coverage. Sutuala's in great coverage. Makes a great pass breakup. Now, he hangs on to that ball. That's a pick six, and that gets the party started a little bit. And I felt like, had we given ourselves the ability to make some of those plays that were available to us, that maybe gets our offense to relax a little bit, gets our team to relax a little bit, and go play the game. Guys are pressing, guys are trying to do some things, but we didn't get things going for us offensively. And then we kind of, when we did get a little fire started, we provided the fire extinguisher also. We hit a naked out here. That's a bootleg. We hit a bootleg out here, and we get a block in the back that brings the thing back. We find a guy open down the field, doesn't catch the ball. Things like that would have provided the spark that was necessary. I've got a defense that, made some good plays. We did get an interception and, had some things like that happen. It's a one-score game at halftime. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Keep playing and find a way to make the big plays take place. And I really felt like, there were 2 third downs that we gave up early in the game that, we stopped those. Those are both 3 and outs. Well, the good thing was we responded and we still made plays, but we let those guys out. There were about 4 or 5 plays that, moved the ball and was 1 touchdown in the first half. And the rest of the time, our defense is kind of playing it's 3 and out style of defense. So we're close, but we've got to get that mindset to be able to go play the way that we're capable of playing. And I need to see our special teams produce more than what we did.
You talked about being close. Did you feel okay with a little bit of tweaks with our regular starting quarterback back, and we'll talk about that in a minute, that you are able to make that next step and win football games? Are you that close where it's just a couple of things?
I'm confident of that. I was confident of that case on Thursday. Felt like that was something that would take place. Even when we talked to the guys at halftime, felt like, hey, it's this close. The final score is the one you pay attention to. I think we're very close to being able to make those things happen, yes. And whoever our quarterback is, I think if we execute things the way that we'd execute them in camp, we make some of those plays that we need to make, and I don't think we had the situation we have to. So yeah, I do expect to see that. I expect to see that starting at practice this afternoon, and I expect to see a much improved football team on the field come Saturday.
Dominic Blackman didn't play. And
correct.
You said after the football game, that's between him and me, and that's all we're going to do. The fact that you worked towards the start of the season with him as your quarterback, and then all of a sudden he's not able to play, how much did that affect your offense and its inability to put points up on the board?
Well, I think your starters are always your starters for a reason. It was certainly something, it wasn't all of a sudden for us. It was public knowledge was more all of a sudden because a lot of people didn't know that until it happened. But it was something that we had gone into it knowing that was going to be the case, and we prepared ourselves the way that we needed to. Like I said, I'd seen those things happen on the field. I'd like to think that guys win jobs for a reason, and therefore if you're able to keep your starters, if you're able to stay healthy, for example, throughout the course of a season, you got the opportunity to play your best football. Do I think that would help us? Sure. Does that mean that those other guys aren't capable? That doesn't mean that that's the case. What it means is we didn't perform well as a team on Thursday night. Yeah, I'd like to think this is going to help us, and he's got an opportunity to go and back it up.
Any young guys, any new faces that we need to pay attention to that maybe opened your guys up instead of they were good in practice, but they were a whole lot better in a game?
Well, Najee Levitt is one guy that has been talked about on the offensive side of the ball, and he's a guy that I think has got an opportunity to make some good things happen. I think there's going to be some guys in that receiving core, but I need that level of consistency to improve. That was something that I didn't see on Thursday night that I had been seeing in the course of practice. On the defensive side of the ball, a lot of our guys are pretty experienced. You've seen those guys play, so it's not a lot of not a lot of rookies that are absolutely factoring into the matter there.
What's the focus this week?
Play well.
Okay, because coaches say that between week 1 and week 2, team makes its biggest improvement. Do you subscribe to that theory?
I think there's truth in that. I think a lot of it is, as you go through practice, we talked about this last week, as you go through practice as a team, you've been going against each other. As a staff, that's the team you've been paying attention to. You're seeing the other guys on video and you're developing what you think about your team. You still need to go out and play against somebody else to find out what your personality really is. How are they going to respond to those things? Do they respond to it the way you like it? If they don't respond to things the way that you preach it and things like that, well, then that's where something needs to get fixed. That's where we find ourselves right now. So the first time with the lights and cameras and action on for the first deal to the second one, yeah, I think there's an opportunity to make a lot of change in that respect. It's not always a lot of change in that respect, though, either. It's maybe a matter of getting it to come out the right way. I don't know if I'm making sense what I'm saying there, but I think you have the ability to see a significant difference between week 1 and week 2, but it's because you finally got the opportunity to go against somebody else.
Right, tweak it a little bit. When we come back on Inside the Vandals, Rob and I will talk about this week's opponent as we get ready for the first road game of the season heading to Bowling Green. That's all, and Inside the Vandals continues.